Shalom, all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh Bahashem Yahushua Bahashem HaKadosh. Double honors unto the apostles and elders of GMS, who are the true leaders of Israel today, and salutations to all of the Akim who do this work in truth and sincerity, who risk their lives and their freedoms to do so, as well as the scattered Israelites who come looking like the heathen but are not, by way of their forefathers' seeds for Israelite men. The true name of the Most High is Yahweh, and his son's name is Yahushua, and the Lord's only chosen people are the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, as we're the ones who suffer under the curses in the book of Deuteronomy. My name is Akalia, and I'm from the GMS Jamaica Kingston camp, and this video is about this video right here and the collapse of the US dollar. And all of this, plus many other factors that are going on, will lead to the microchip, which is the mark of the beast. Okay, so from this channel called Redacted, BRICS just announced the US dollar is about to collapse for good. Redacted with Clayton Morris. Okay, and BRICS consists of these countries right here: Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, Iran, Egypt, Ethiopia, and the United Arab Emirates, right? And even when you look at some of the countries here, my mind immediately goes to Ezekiel chapter 38, okay, where it talks about Gog and Magog, which is referring to the Russians, and it talks about that the Lord will put hooks into them, and that they'll go to war, and that they'll have a great company, which are its allies. And so it's Russia and her allies, which includes Iran and the so-called African nations, so like Egypt and Ethiopia, South Africa, right? And we know that India and Iran, they are the same people. They are the biblical Elamites, all right? And these countries are all confederate together. Okay, so this is the opposition against the other side, which is America, which is Mishra Babylon the Great in Revelation chapter 17, and her allies, which is NATO, which is the beast, and the 10 horns, which is the European Union, right? So it's the two sides against each other. All right, that will go to war. And of course, the state of Israel is on the side of America, and America will go to the state of Israel's defense in the time that World War III will be building. But before that destruction can come, the mark of the beast prophecy has to be fulfilled. So we are going to be seeing the system being put in place, and we're going to see other factors such as the collapse of the US dollar. And this is something that has been said for many, many, many years. It's as if the wicked elite of Esau Edom have let people know about it for a very long time, but that's what they do. It's like they are self-fulfilling prophets of sort. They enjoy letting the masses know about things that are to come, and then eventually they do happen, even if it's like 20 years later or something. They play the long game, right? So let's just listen to a bit of this.
Something big is about to happen, and Russia and China are cracking their fingers right now because the global world order is being restructured right before our eyes. A nail in the US dollar coffin. So what happens in October? I'll get there in a minute with some pretty stunning news that we've been predicting here on this show for at least the last 2 years. I take no joy in this, by the way, but Biden's sheep are about to be slaughtered. The liberals who say that everything is fine in the economy, the people that, watch CNN or MSNBC, not you guys, of course, the preppers who watch my show. You guys have been prepping, and of course they make fun of you for prepping. Our world's coming to an end. Help us, Jesus.
The country ain't the country I was raised in. No, it's better. It's stronger.
I've been warning you about this for 2 years, that this is coming. And I see it in the comments thread. I read every comment you guys post there. You guys have been taking action. You're already preparing your families. So you and I are going to come out far ahead on this, thank goodness. But let's get back to the big news here. In the next few months, everything changes for the US dollar. That's not me saying this. This is coming from every economist that I trust. And there's only a handful of them that I do. It's coming from the very same people that accurately predicted the tsunami that hit in 2008. You know, Congressman Ron Paul, who ran for president of the United States, no one would listen to him. Ron Paul warned us all that the 2008 collapse was coming. He warned us in 2003. They called him nuts. He was right, of course. But back in 2008, he also gave us another huge warning that no one paid attention to, and it's now coming true. This is Ron Paul in 2008. Watch.
And to me, the more amazing thing right now is not only has the financial system collapsed, which is very, very bad and very dangerous, I believe that what we're moving toward now is the collapse of the dollar. And the collapse of a dollar, because it's the international reserve currency, I think is going to be much worse than what we have already witnessed.
Yeah, Ron Paul warning all of us that a US dollar collapse is inevitable. And now we have breaking news that we just learned about this weekend from Russia and China. We now know, without a shadow of a doubt, that the BRICS nations are officially ending their ties to the United States dollar as a reserve currency. According to multiple sources close to the BRICS planners, it will officially happen in October at their summit meeting, where they will make that declaration. Now, they could do a soft declaration ahead of time, we don't know, but according to sources close to BRICS, they will also announce their new currency at the time.
Well, look at that. Ethiopia, Egypt, Iran. Just how I mentioned in that Ezekiel 38, man. These are the nations that are mentioned as allies of Russia first, right? Actually, let me just get it for that visual representation. Okay. Ezekiel 38, verse 2 starts with Gog and Magog, which is the Russians, right? And then when you go to verse 4, it talks about that they'll go to war and that they'll have the company. And it says literally Persia, Ethiopia, and Libya with them, all of them shield and helmets. And Persia, that's the old name. You know, the modern name for the modern day name for them is Iran, and they once again are those biblical Elamites, right? And just right there, man, Ethiopia, Egypt, Iran.
Just let that sink in for a moment, guys. Brazil, Russia, China, India, South Africa, and dozens of other countries which
It's
are now
biblical
joining
prophecy,
BRICS
man,
will
right in
officially
your
end
face.
settling transactions in US dollars, and instead use a new commodities-backed currency. And according to the news this weekend, BRICS will, quote, sway other countries to ditch the US dollar by uplifting local currencies for trade, as well as developing a new currency system that would rival the US dollar. Experts, of course, say that the US dollar is less attractive now that the US is facing rising inflation, has unrelenting debt on its hands. Russia...
Unrelenting debts. Let's get that scripture, man. In the book of Habakkuk, chapter 2 and verse 6, it says, shall not all these take up a parable against him and a taunting proverb against him, and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his, how long? And to him that ladeth himself with thick clay. And when you look at the word clay here, H5671, it says, weight of pledges, heavy debts. And that's what America's situation is. You know, you can look at the debt clock for America, and I mean, it's outrageous. And it's like, who does America owe this money to? Who do they owe the money to? Who are they borrowing money from? The wicked elite of Esau, Edom. And, you know, that goes to show you that America is a corporation. And not only America, but all of these countries are really just corporations. And America is a corporation that has been used by the wicked elite of Esau, Edom, right? And right now, you know, it's looking to be that the wicked elite of Esau, Edom are really, they've used up that resource, right? So they're going to do away with it, right? Let's continue.
Says that U.S. is unloading its inflation on other countries, holding their dollars. Just look at Japan, which is collapsing.
Вот-вот обрушится доллар. Если доллар обрушится, что произойдет? У них же на бумажке вся экономика. Надо, напечатали доллары. Говорят, если много денег, инфляция. Плевать, инфляция на нас ложится. Сейчас ни доллары, ни евро никому не нужны. И это уже не только в Беларуси и России. Это во многих странах.
And then this weekend, we have yet another country announcing it wants away from the US dollar. The Maldives wants to settle transactions in BRICS currency. So just since 2007, federal debt held by the public has surged from $4.6 trillion to an astonishing $27 trillion. Overall government debt is now surpassed $34 trillion. Just look at this chart that Game of Trades put together to paint a picture. In over 200 years of history, we saw this and then boom. Guys, there are so many bad signs right now for Biden's sheep that I can't even fit them all into this video. But here are two more little data points for you. China and other BRICS nations saw this coming years ago, so they started dumping U.S. treasuries, unlike Japan. U.S. allies, though, like Japan, didn't do that. And now they're facing disaster because it's basically gotten too close to the U.S. dollar. It touched the sun and it got burned. Now Japan's economy is collapsing. They have no young people. No one is having babies in Japan. The same thing is happening in the United States thanks to Biden's inflation and money printing. America's fertility rate plummeted to its lowest level in a century just this past year. That means the government and the Fed have to keep printing money to counter that demographic cliff that's coming. It's about to get a whole lot worse. But back to Japan for a moment. Japan is the largest holder of U.S. debt. They were thinking of selling, but then the U.S. panicked, and Jerome Powell of the U.S. Fed held a secret meeting with Japan's central bank to make a secret deal. We'll prop up your yen if you don't sell off our dollar. Now that plan has collapsed.
We've seen a reversal as the yen has began to collapse again to almost 156 yen per dollar. This spells disaster for Japan and the U.S. potentially, as Japan is the largest holder of U.S. treasuries.
Guys, the U.S. dollar is a Ponzi scheme because they just keep printing more money, just like Bernie Madoff. A Ponzi scheme only works until people want their money back or they want out of the deal. And then it all comes crashing down. Former Fed Chief Alan Greenspan explains how this scheme worked.
Are U.S. Treasury bonds still safe to invest in?
Very much so. I think this is not an issue of credit rating. The United States can pay any debt it has because we can always print money to do that.
Again, it works until the music stops playing, until inflation hits, until BRICS nations ditch your Ponzi scheme and build a new currency on gold and oil. That's what just happened. The other big part...
Yeah, and new currencies backed by gold and oil. And actually, they're also developing these central bank digital currencies. And I believe it was CBDC Zimbabwe, right? Right, Zimbabwe, they created a central bank digital currency which is backed by gold. All right, so anyways, what's really going on here is that the American economy is collapsing. Things are happening in America where the dollar will fail. And, the money failed before, right? In the book of Genesis, chapter 47. And this is just like a part of, what is happening with the system, that is coming in. Because all roads will lead to this market chip. Genesis 47 and verse 15. And when money failed in the land of Egypt, this is talking about ancient Egypt, and in the land of Canaan, all the Egyptians came unto Joseph and said, give us bread, for why should we die in thy presence, for the money faileth. So the money failed in previous Egypt, and it will fail again in this Egypt right here, right? The Lord said that he will bring thee into Egypt again, which is the bondage, right? So the money is going to fail over there in America, and all the signs are there. Now, what will this really do? I can really make a guess on it, speaking as a man. It probably will expedite the US dollar central bank digital currency. However it is that they reason with among themselves to justify whatever, but I can foresee that. And I foresee that because, all roads lead to this market chip. And the central bank digital currencies are that digital payment system that will be stored on your digital identification system, which the digital identification system is meant to hold your financials on it, and then all of that information is going to be stored on the microchip, and then boom, we're in it. All right, that time of the prophecy. So this is all coming, man, and it's very beautiful to see you know, there was a date, a month given, October 2024, but you know, we'll see with all things, whatever it is that Yahweh Shai has planned. But the thing is that this thing is quite close, right? When you look at the system being put in and everything, it looks close. And then this Ecclesiastes chapter 12 and verse 1. Remember now thy creator in the days of thy youth, while the evil days come not near, nor the years draw nigh, when thou shalt say, I have no pleasure in them, right? So right now things are, you know, seemingly okay, even though we're in a state of complete hell, you know what I'm saying? A very unfavorable condition, right? As we, the Israelites, are under the curses, but worse days are ahead. And these are the days of Jacob's trouble, as the scriptures call it in Jeremiah chapter 30 and verse 7, right? Jacob's trouble is coming. So remember now thy creator. Who's your creator? Yahweh Shai, right? So repent and pray for salvation. Pray to be a part of the elect, okay? Because dark days are coming, while the sun or the light or the moon or the stars be not darkened, nor the clouds return after the rain. In the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and he mentioned the economists earlier, and these are the keepers of the house. These are the men that constantly watch the economy to see what's going on with it. And these men have been speaking on it for years that the American economy is going to collapse. And the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grander cease, because they're few, right? And the work is becoming less and less, all right? Especially because so many things are becoming automated right now. Many people are losing their jobs. And so it's going to come to the point where people don't have these jobs. And what are you going to do? You have this mass population. Well, we know the wicked elite of Esau, Edom, they want to cull the population. But also, what about universal basic income? We've heard about that, right? And that benefit, in whichever way it does come, is going to be tied to that microchip. You can't buy or sell unless you have it, because there are few, and those that look out of the windows be darkened. So they're looking out the windows and it's looking dark out there. There's no hope. They're seeing no way out. And when it is that we're in these days that are coming, right, many of our people are going to see no hope because they don't believe in Yahweh Shai. So they're going to bend the knee to Esau, and they're going to take the microchip, and then they're going to be destroyed, right? But this is all in the works, man. And, you know, you have been warned by the prophets of Yahweh Shai. So many things are going on, right? From all kinds of different kinds of angles. And, you know, there's this lady who came out who appeared to be an insider of sorts. And during the 2020 situation, she came out and said, you know, this is all a distraction really for what is to come. And the same thing that the prophets have spoken about for way before she came out and said it. She said that this system is coming, this digital payment system, and they have different various things that they're building up to ensure that it happens, right? And we haven't heard from her since she made that video. And actually, when she made that video, right, they erased it off of the YouTube. And now, where's that video? You know, can't find it, and where is she? But you know what? It is what it is. Yeah, man. This thing is coming, and that's it. So, of course, the rest of the video, you can go to Redacted. But with that, I'd like to say all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh Shai, Bashmakal Kodesh, Shalom.